It's Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. Dr. Nihar Ghate is with us, and I always mess your name up, I know. Good morning.
Well, you actually got it right that time.
I know, isn't that? That's pretty amazing this time, huh? You know how much practice went into that?
Probably a couple hours, I'd say.
It's good to have you back with us again as we talk about foot and ankle injuries and prevention and what a surgeon might do if there's a problem going on. There's this event coming up called Agony of Defeat.
Yeah, that's in April. It's April 23rd. It's a Monday at the Rustic Lodge at 6 p.m. Basically, the Agony of Defeat is going to be a generalized lecture talking about different problems that people have on a common daily basis to allow us to diagnose and treat even on the spot what kind of treatments we could do for people who have pain. I mean, simple foot pain can be treated right away with stretching and exercise, but there are other things that we will talk about there, such as bunions, hammer toes, and ankle pain, including sometimes impingement syndrome from activity, things like that. But that's going to be a fun lecture. It's going to be probably about an hour or 2 hours at the Rustic Lodge.
Mm-hmm. When we think about foot and ankle problems, and particularly foot problems, a lot of that is self-inflicted. Some of it could be inherited structurally. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
Yeah, self-inflicted is kind of the more common thing we see right now. It's springtime. A lot of people want to get out and start exercising. There's this thing we call the weekend warrior that, let's say it's been 3 or 4 months of winter. They want to get out and do something they haven't done before, like play tennis, jog, and they injure themselves. They don't know what to do. They think it's just a pulled muscle or something of that nature. A lot of times it is something that will go away, but more often than not, we do see these injuries, which are tendon ruptures or pulled muscles that need attention, either surgically or conservatively. And a lot of times it can end up being even Achilles injuries, plantar fasciitis, things of that nature, and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff we can treat in the office, but most of the stuff, surgically, you want to repair if it's a serious injury.
Mm-hmm. There are things that people, when people start talking about their foot, their ankle, their lower leg, it becomes a contest. Oh yeah, well mine hurts worse, and I've got this, and you've got that, and it is true that those things can compound, and they can cause problems elsewhere in your body, can't they?
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that if you're not walking correctly, a lot of times, we get a typical patient will come in and say, my left foot started hurting a couple months ago, and after a while it started hurting on my right foot, and then my back, and even into my neck, and a lot of times it's a matter of compensation. You think, we don't think about it, but when we walk, we don't want to walk when there's pain. So our bodies naturally compensate onto the other side. And when you do that, unfortunately, you cause more problems. And the best thing to do is to come down to our office at Suite 307 at the 119 Professional Center and make an appointment, or even call 888-452-IRMC to make an appointment, and we can take care of you.
All right. So at this event, Agony of Defeat, that is coming up, you're going to talk, you mentioned a couple of moments ago, bunions. That's a really common thing, isn't it?
It is. There's a stigma that anybody who has a bunion needs surgery. That's not necessarily the case. There are a lot of conservative treatment, and by conservative treatment I mean non-surgical, that we can do for people who have injuries like this, or even just common ailments such as bunions. We can treat them with offloading with orthotics. We can treat them with padding. A lot of times the orthotics can solve the problem. A lot of times a bunion will lead to a hammer toe as well, because they one comes with the other. The treatment, if it gets worse, becomes surgical, and surgery again is outpatient for something like that. And it all depends on the severity.
Yeah. And at this event, because people, when they hear that word surgery, automatically stop sign goes up. I'm gonna ignore the problem, which makes it worse.
Yeah.
And you're going to help us to understand just what those surgical options are and what actually happens during the process, I would assume.
Yeah. Surgery isn't always a bad thing. Recovery, does take some time, but sometimes the sooner you get something taken care of, the less the recovery is. So you have to look at it in terms of how quickly do you want to recover. As things progress in anything, it always gets worse. You never want to let things go. So I would recommend, even if you have daily pain with your feet, you should definitely get seen. And again, with springtime being here, a lot of these ankle injuries come through with ankle fractures, ankle sprains. Sometimes a sprain is more than a sprain; it's a ligament rupture. That's oftentimes surgical intervention. So don't let things go and don't let things sit. Unfortunately, they get worse.
Yeah, they do. Plantar fasciitis, really, really common.
It is really common. That's another thing that we would talk about at the Agony of Defeat. Plantar fasciitis, again, everybody thinks, I need an injection. I need a surgery. A lot of times plantar fasciitis can be solved quickly with stretching for 3 weeks. It's stretching twice a day over a 3-week period. And honestly, just by doing that, you can reduce your pain 50 to 60%.
Yeah.
We don't think about it. A lot of people develop pain just from walking, but walking essentially is exercise. So everybody, when I was growing up, everyone said stretch before you work out. Well, walking is exercising, so you should always stretch before you work.
Absolutely. Well, that's a really good point that probably not a lot of people have considered, but absolutely, that's 100% right. So the event is called Agony of Defeat.
Yeah, it's April 23rd. It's a Monday.
Pre-register? Or must you pre-register?
Either or. You can pre-register. You can call 724-357-8088. Or you can come there and you can just register right when you get there.
Would you, at this event, be able to cover topics such as proper footwear?
Yeah, we'll cover all of that. We'll cover proper footwear, orthotics, common ailments and treatments of the foot. We'll also have a scheduling center right there, so we can schedule people who may need additional appointments or evaluations.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and in our office we also do X-rays. We have an X-ray machine available to do foot and ankle X-rays right on the spot. We also do a number of different treatments in the office, including tendon injections that can help heal ruptures of tendons to allow the treatments to get better quickly. So.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are going to be getting out if the weather ever changes to springtime. But they will be getting out. We've seen some folks out this morning who are jogging in spite of the cold temperatures, and more are going to do that. And so more and more probably are going to get injured because they still think they're 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, no, that's human nature, right? We never want to face the facts that sometimes age is sneaking up on us.
Yeah, it's sneaking up on some of us.
Yeah.
Not all of us. Not all of us. Some of us refuse to accept that, and therefore we go out and hurt ourselves.
I'd say the biggest thing to watch out for in this weather is, we still have some snow on the ground, and during the day it does melt a little bit, and overnight it freezes. And if you're going out jogging in the morning, be careful. Look for those icy spots. You could end up hurting yourself pretty bad.
Especially in the dark.
Yeah, I mean, it's dark a little later in the mornings right now, too. So those people who do get up and run, be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, and of course, stepping off curbs, and it doesn't have to be an exercise injury. It can be someone who walks down the steps and stumbles a bit. It can be someone who steps off a curb wrong. All of those things can really lead to a bad injury.
Yeah, they lead to just not just one injury, several injuries. You slip and fall off a curb, you twist your ankle, you hit your knee, you hit your wrist, then it becomes multiple injuries. And the best thing to do is to get seen right away.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in to tell us all about it this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Anything else we need to know before we get into this event?
No. Hope to see everybody on April 23rd at the Rustic Lodge at 6 p.m.
All right. And what'd you say, 357-8088?
Yes, that's the number.
357-8088 is the number to call. Thanks, sir.
All right, great. Thank you.
It is Indiana in the Morning, and it's 101.1 FM.